forward. So let's keep in mind the ideas that I'm going to give. You're not going to just wake up the next day and feel better. But I will say, if you apply these things, you will heal a lot quicker. I'll say that much. You will progress a lot further. So the first tip, I don't know how many tips is going to be, but we just going to go with the flow. But the first tip I would say is to feel the pain. Like, accept it. Become one with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, as soon as it starts hurting, we run away from it and, like, push it to the back of our mind. We either say we don't care or forget that person or whatever. I'm over it. Like, don't lie to yourself, because that pushes the process, or not pushes, but it draws the process out longer, because you're lying to yourself and you're burying things, and you need to feel in order to heal. So the first step is admitting that you're hurt and allowing yourself to feel that pain. If you need to cry, if you need to scream in a pillow, you know what I'm saying? You need to rip up something, do whatever it is you do, but don't lie about how you feel. Like, that's the first step. So admitting it and feeling it is the first step. The second step is, I would say, to just, once you've cried it out and, you're in a, not a good place, but once you got out those tears and that anger, what I did was I sat down and I wrote on a piece of paper, what I could do better the next time around. Because we have to remember, even though you may feel like a lot of things are the other person's fault, there's still things in a relationship that will show you about yourself that you feel like you need to work on too. You know what I'm saying? So you may feel like, oh, well, I didn't do nothing or whatever. And that may be the case. Like, you maybe not did something specific to cause a breakup to happen, but it will open. This is your time to reflect. I'll just say that. Like, what you could have done better the next time, or red flags that you've seen that you ignored that you need to listen to the next time, so that you don't end up in the same situation. So that's what I mean by that. So, whether that be communication, if you feel like you should have communicated better instead of letting your feelings build up and then you explode, or there's a big argument or whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? Your next time around is better when you start feeling something to speak on it up front and not let it build up. And I've learned that myself, because I will let things build up and then I may explode or blow something out of proportion. But to me, it's not out of proportion, because I feel like it's something that's been going on a while. But it's just like, this day, I just feel like talking about it. So when I do something, it's going to look like I'm just blowing up. And then I end up feeling bad after, because, that's not how I want to come off or whatever. So communication. So just write down whatever your thing is, whether it's communication, whether it's being affectionate, showing attention, not getting an attitude or being overly jealous. If the person you're with was always angry with you because you were insecure or you're overly jealous, like, you should be writing down that is something that you need to work on and what you can do to fix that. Like, what's causing your insecurity? Do you not love yourself? Have you been hurt in the past and you didn't deal with that, and then you just jumped into another relationship and you're carrying that with you? Like, you need to figure out the root of the problem so it doesn't happen again. So that's the second thing. The third thing I would say is, I would say kind of like, you kind of want to avoid sad songs. Like, I guess during your grieving period, like, you can listen to that music because you want to hear, like, somebody going through the same thing that you're going through, and music speaks for us and lets our feelings out. But then it gets to a point where you need to stop. Like, you don't want to just listen to sad music all day. Maybe when it first happens, or when you get that little, I don't know, when you start missing that person, if that's what you want to do. But what I find better for me is gospel music. So, like, if you're a spiritual person, that music helps a lot. Like Smokey Norfolk, and I'm like into R&B, so I wanted like an R&B type gospel sound. Smokey Norfolk is the truth. Like, when I say every day I listen to him, every day, I don't care what I'm going through, like every day, and it works. Like, that's real. Like, even if it's working just for that moment while I'm listening to the song, like, it does something. It's something about just gospel music that it just uplifts you, and it reminds you that other people are going through things too, and that, God is with us. which leads me to my next point, which really I feel like should have been number one. It is number one. And prayer and, reading the word. And I know it sounds cliche. Like, every time something happens, somebody always saying, oh, well, pray, just pray about it. But how many times do you really do it? Like, it sounds cliche and it sounds like it don't work, because most people, when they go through things, they don't do it. Like, they go to their friends, which is fine. You want people to, you want like person to person advice. I get it. You want people that love you to give you advice. I get that. But it is something about prayer. And I mean, like, getting on your knees, light a candle if you have to, and just pour yourself out. Cry out to God. Let it out. Ask for healing. Like, it's like the peace you find in that, like, you will not get from a human being. I promise you. It's different. It's different. It's just, I can't explain it, but it really does work. And I don't feel like I would heal as quickly if I didn't do those things. And also, I have people that support me too. But when you're home alone, or you're having one of those days where you can't stop crying, or you don't want to go outside, or you don't want to do anything, like, you need something to keep you sane when you're inside and you have that alone time. So definitely prayer. And I also like to take prayer walks. So I have like my little Bluetooth headphones, so that I don't have to like carry or have the cord hanging. I just want to be free and just walk. I have my phone in my pocket, and I got my playlist going, and I listen to Smokey Norfolk. That's it. There's other artists out there, but like, he works for me. That's enough. And I just go through all his songs, and I walk for about 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have an actual destination. I just walk around my neighborhood, and oh my God, even if you walk and cry, like, it just feels so good. And to be in nature and feel the air, just, I read somewhere, like, when you're stressed or depressed, exercising, it releases like endorphins or something like that. So that makes sense why when I walk too, I feel better, and you're breathing in air, and you're in nature, and you're just out the house. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't feel like going anywhere or being bothered with people, like, taking a walk is just, it's the bomb. So my next thing would be eating healthy. And this is true. Like, it sounds like, oh, I'm eating food, like, I'm not going to feel better. But it's true. Like, a good smoothie, something cold, something good for your body, a salad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big healthy eater. I need to do better. I love In-N-Out Burger, love greasy foods. But when I have a smoothie, or I'm just eating right, and you tell yourself, like, I'm going to focus on my food. Like, I'm not going to think of anything else. I just want to focus on how this tastes, how good this tastes. Like, that also provides peace, and just your body feels good because your body's healthy. You know what I mean? So that's another tip that I would have as well. Also, this is the biggest one out of all the tips too. Stay off the person's social media. I know it's hard. Because you want to see what that person's doing. Are they happy without me? Who are they with? Da, da, da. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, you don't need to know. Like, why do you want to know? So you can just feel bad. It's like, we want to feel bad. Like, don't do it. Like, if you love yourself, just like you love this person that you're hurting for, you know what I'm saying? Or you care about the person you're hurting for, like, you're not going to do anything to hurt you. Okay, let me rephrase that. If you care about somebody, right, you're not going to do something to intentionally hurt that person. If you really love them, if you really care for them, you're not going to do something to intentionally hurt them, right? So the same thing applies for yourself. That's why when people say self-love is important, and that's not cliche either, it is real. If you love yourself, why would you do something that you know is gonna hurt you? So if you know looking at this person's social media or whatever is gonna hurt your feelings, why would you go look? Like, why do you want to do that to yourself? Like, right now, you're so fragile and you're so vulnerable. Like, this is the time to protect you. You know what I'm saying? So if you know it's gonna hurt and you don't want to see it with nobody else, you ain't to that point where you can see that and you still care, and every time you look at them it hurts. Like, you don't search. Just don't go look. Just don't look at no old pictures. Don't look at no old texts. Don't go on a page. Like, don't do none of that, because it hurts. I'm telling you, it hurts. Don't do it. So that's another tip. What else? Also, this is a really good one too, and it's helped me a lot. Reading about breakup and what goes on with the mind and the brain, because it's crazy. Like, I can't really explain it good, but basically what I read was that same thing with exercising when you release endorphins. Basically, like when you miss somebody, I guess the part of the brain that, I don't know how to explain it. Y'all gotta go read it because I don't want to tell y'all the wrong stuff. But basically, like how a person is addicted to drugs. Dopamine, that's the word. So your brain releases dopamine. So it's like, you know how you're not with a person or you're hurting for them, and then like you get a text or you get a call and you get that rush, like that adrenaline rush, and then right after you still feel like shit, like, or excuse my language, but you still feel bad because it's not going where you want it to go, but at least you're like talking to the person. Okay, that right there is dopamine. Like the same thing, like when you're addicted to drugs, you get that, once you get that high, you get that like, I don't know, I don't know the word. I don't know, you know that feeling though. Y'all been addicted to something, you know the feeling. When you get that release, and then right when the come down hits, you feel terrible. So that's the same thing. So that's why it's like when you broken up with a person or you're trying to get over them, like contact, it really doesn't help the process unless you guys both want to get back together or you working toward that, then maybe. But if you kind of know it's not going anywhere or that's not what the other person wants, like you just end up hurting yourself because you get that little rush, and then once that come down, it's bad. And then that goes the same for like heartbreak. Like when you get that feeling like I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't focus, I can't do nothing. It's that same dopamine. Like you're waiting for that next high, you're waiting for that next fix. So your mind is working like from that same part of the brain. So sometimes it has nothing to even do with, you just love that person so much like you think you do. But the fact, it's like you're addicted to them. I'll say it that way. Not saying you may not be in love with that person, but I'm saying a lot of times it's you're addicted to that person. You miss their company, you miss their touch, you miss the companionship. You know what I'm saying? You addicted to that. That's what you addicted to. That's what you're missing. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So basically just like reading up on how the mind works. Why do you feel the way you feel? Like I'm totally into psychology and how people think. And that's going to provide healing because you need a perspective. Because you'll start feeling like, dang, like my world is over and I'm the only one in the world that feels like this and I'm never going to get over this. But you need to understand how your brain is working. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, when you break up with somebody and the relationship could have been terrible, but somehow every time you start hurting, you reminisce on only the good times. That is your mind's way of trying to heal your heart. You know what I'm saying? You knew the relationship wasn't good, but every time you start hurting, you start thinking of all the good memories. That's because that's how your mind works. That's how your body works. That's its survival tactic. You know what I'm saying? So you need to know how your brain is working and why you feel the way you feel. And that will start to change your perspective. You know what I'm saying? Versus, I miss this person or I'm hurting, so I need to go back. No, sometimes you need to analyze the whole situation. Like that don't mean you need to go back. And then that's another thing that's going to help you kind of move forward if that's what you want to do. We have to realize when we love or care for somebody, just because you're not with them, that doesn't mean like that feeling's going to go away. Like, let's not act like because we're not with somebody anymore, I don't care, I don't feel nothing, I don't love them, you're going to end up hurting yourself more. You need to admit that you still love that person, you still care about them, but maybe this is not the right time or that person is not right for us. You know, that's how we need to start changing our perspective. And you could take that love with you.